What a time to be invested in carbon. KRBN ETF was the top performing ETF in the second quarter, rising 28% in those 3 months alone. China has finally launched its own cap and trade system, making it the biggest carbon market in the world. And the UK ETS is up and running. I'm SkylerJames. Welcome back to the channel. Today we're reviewing these developments and what other exciting catalysts are on the horizon for the KRBN ETF. This ETF from Crane Shares has been on fire. It's up 81% in the last year and 50% year to date. Proof that extraordinary investments can lead to extraordinary returns. There have been some exciting developments across the ETF space as a whole, ones that are likely to have an impact on KRBN going forward. Let's start with the EU. EUAs have doubled in value over the last calendar year, and that may have you wondering how much runway is left for EUAs. That's a valid question given their futures are 75% of KRBN. Well, some experts think a lot of runway is left. That's partly because these carbon markets aren't free markets in the way you and I as investors think of them. Instead, these are dictated by governments. The EU's trade system has even been referred to as a supercharged OPEC because of how much power the EU holds over the price of this commodity. Given this outsized influence, we as investors should ask, has the government stance changed since we last checked? Are governments still pushing for higher prices and lower supply on carbon allowances? The answer is yes. A leaked draft proposal says the EU expects allowances to cost over 100 euros by 2030, an approximate doubling of today's price. But EUAs have doubled from 25 to 50 euros in the last year alone. And forget 2030, some hedge funds and analysts see the price hitting 100 euros before the end of this current year. That EU draft also suggested lowering the total supply of allowances while adding more industries to the carbon compliance umbrella. Doesn't matter how we slice this, things look good for those of us speculating in the EU ETS. Another great development for holders of KRBN is the newly launched UK ETS. It opened in May, is a byproduct of Brexit, and good news for us investors, the volume is already strong enough to meet the inclusion criteria for KRBN. We should expect that to happen during the November rebalance. At the carbon credit auction, the UK ETS has a reserve price of 22 British pounds per ton. But the first few weeks of trading has seen wild fluctuations, and they've dwarfed that reserve price. On day one, prices were 50 pounds per ton before settling into the low 40s and now rising back up to 50 pounds as of this recording. Don't be surprised to see this volatility continue as EU and UK companies jockey their credits between the two trading systems. China has also opened a brand new ETS this year, but critics say, and I'm one of them, that right now it's toothless. It's an emission reduction system in name only. I won't spend too much time giving you the details. I have a whole video on it in my channel. Be sure to check it out. It's loaded with great information. But as of today, there isn't even an auction system where allowances can be traded. And they haven't said if outside investors and speculators like you and me and KRBN will be able to participate. China's system is full of question marks, but their ETS is a wake-up call to the rest of the world. It should serve as peer pressure for other big polluters to get their carbon credit systems online sooner rather than later. Let's head across the Pacific. Have you heard about California's carbon prices? They are on fire, both at the Air Resource Board auctions and the secondary market. CCAs are hitting new highs seemingly every week. Just like there are people excited about the near-term gains for EUAs, analysts are just as bullish on the CCAs. As of today, California represents 20% of KRBN assets. I'm not sure I'd want to see KRBN allocate any more than that to California, regardless of the bullish setup. Because remember, the biggest threat to carbon allowance price appreciation is political regime change. That's true in California, just as it's true globally. The last region to touch on is RGGI in the northeastern United States. Auction prices are up 41%, just recently touching all-time highs. Are you seeing this trend? Every region we're looking at is sitting at all-time highs. Of all the holdings in KRBN, RGGI futures generate the least excitement, but the price action has been positive and it adds geographic diversity. Okay, you're now caught up on the 5 ETFs. We talked about the positive price action in the EU. We looked at the new UK ETFs and expect to see it added to KRBN later this year. We looked at China's young ETFs. We looked at California and its bullish performance. Last, we checked on Reggie, sitting at all-time highs. If you haven't already, take a look at the KRBN ETF. It has had such amazing returns lately, and I think there is such strong upside left based on all the factors I've outlined in this video. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.